August 8th, 2020, Anchorage, Alaska. Elizabeth Santos, a Floridian residing in Wasilla, went to visit her friend Lizette Hogland Hall. Elizabeth had broken up with her boyfriend, Dustin Kerpius, a few days prior, and was visiting Lizette in an attempt to clear her head and get away for a while. She and Dustin had been dating for over a decade. Present at the house at the time was Desmond Marcus Hall, a friend of Dustin's. But what was meant to be a peaceful, reflective retreat soon turned dark. At Lizette's house, Elizabeth was stabbed around 10 times, to the torso, upper thigh, and vital organs, and later died in hospital. On her way to the hospital, Elizabeth was handcuffed by patrol officers. An odd decision considering the woman's critical condition. The official police report mentions that Lizette was seen cleaning up blood from the floor when crime scene investigators arrived. Lizette was noted as having scratches and bruises on her face, which was the result of a fight between herself and Elizabeth shortly before the stabbing. Due to her wounds, Elizabeth was incoherent and could not convey what happened to the police. As mentioned previously, Elizabeth was handcuffed in the ambulance, despite her critical condition. The ambulance then took over 37 minutes before departing for the hospital. DNA swabs and fingerprints were taken from both suspects. Both Lizette and Desmond were released from custody. No charges were made, and the case was suspended. Elizabeth's family have done their best to investigate the incident. They have spoken with the local Alaskan authorities, including the Anchorage Police Department, the Alaska Bureau of Investigation, the Mayor's Office, and various local assembly members. However, despite their exhaustive search for answers, none of these entities have produced satisfactory or conclusive answers. The authorities in charge of the investigation seem indifferent and dismissive of the family's concerns, concluding rather bizarrely that the 10 stab wounds were self-inflicted. This is in direct contradiction to witness statements and the insistence by Elizabeth's close friends and family, who claim Elizabeth was non-violent and not a drug user. The family has also contacted local media, but the story has not been given any attention. I have tried searching for reports of this case myself and have found nothing. The only article I have found on the murder was provided by the victim's family themselves. However, this article by the Alaska news source is very sparse on information. Eventually, the family received photos from the crime scene. This included images of several knives supposedly used in the assault. Not only were the knives free of blood, either they were cleaned or never used, but how did Elizabeth stab herself with multiple knives? The Anchorage Police Department, Jeff Bell, the detective involved in the case, and Sergeant Bianca Cross, the supervisor of the Homicide Division, refused the family's request to run tests on the knives. But why? Later examination of the crime scene photos showed a fourth knife. This was found in the garage not far from where Lizette claimed the fight between Elizabeth and herself took place. This knife, unlike the others, is dirty. It's caked in mud and, if you look closely, what may even be blood. Footage of Lizette and her son Desmond Hall being driven to the police station in separate cars shortly after the stabbing were also released. Desmond, a potential suspect at the time, was not handcuffed. Desmond's demeanour throughout the video is calm, and at times is seen smiling and laughing.
So wait a minute, so I just want to go back. I'm kind of like a detail-oriented guy. So as you're on your back and she's trying to claw you, bite you, how are you defending yourself?
I'm just kind of like blocking.
So you have your hands in front of your face
yeah,
right now.
I'm like
hands
blocking,
up, just blocking.
like, yeah.
Okay.
Just blocking.
And then does she eventually stop?
No, I mean, I guess not. Only because I like got away from her
How
and
did you
ran
get away from her?
upstairs. Like I just kind of like scooted my way and ran upstairs and I told my son, call 911, and then he brought his phone. I didn't even call from my own phone. My son, I thought maybe my son called, but instead he brought his phone upstairs, and he and I hid, and
Where'd you hide at?
in my bedroom. We locked the door, and so my bathroom has 2 doors. It goes like this, 2 doors, and she's like banging on the doors.
So you're in the bathroom?
No, it's connected. The bathroom is connected
To
my bedroom
So you're hiding in your bedroom?
with the doors locked.
Okay.
Me and my son are both in the bedroom with the doors locked.
Okay.
And we hear her in the kitchen. I don't
How long were you
when-
guys in there?
Until the police came, until we heard the doorbell.
And who answered the door?
I did. I ran downstairs.
So you did?
Yeah.
So where was Elizabeth?
She was upstairs.
So you actually have to pass her in order to go?
No, I didn't.
Did you see her?
I didn't. She was somewhere. So there's the living room and there's the kitchen and there's like. I just knew that I gotta get the police in there, and so I think I just went. Like, I don't really recall seeing her. I know she was upstairs though. I know she was because I could hear her the whole time. It was just like the whole like trying to get in, trying to get back in each of the doors, trying to get in, and we were like, I was like, don't.
Is she banging on the doors, trying to open the door?
It felt like she was about to bust open the doors, right?
Okay, so was it like loud bangs trying to get in?
Yeah, like boom, boom.
There were contradictions in her story with investigating officer Detective Jason DeVille. She is also unable to adequately explain how she was able to hide and yet escape to open the door for the police. Furthermore, the banging on the door that Lizette describes cannot be heard on the 911 call.
Okay, is it just you and her inside the residence, or is there somebody else there too?
No, my son is here too.
How old's your son?
He's 22.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get officers out as soon as we can.
She also claimed that the stabbing took place while she was hiding. She also admits to cleaning up blood due to concerns of staining. It is worth mentioning here that Lizette has a criminal record including multiple assaults. There is also anecdotal evidence that Lizette has committed acts of violence with knives before. Desmond refused to speak without an attorney present and has never made a formal statement to the police. However, he did later speak with a private investigator and states that Elizabeth did not stab herself.
Like, I saw glances of her outside the bathroom. She approached me butt naked as I was coming out of the bathroom. It's talking about how much she loved me, and I practically ignored her.
And that was just during the time that she stayed with you and your mother, is that correct?
Yes.
And would that be on the same day that Elizabeth passed away?
It was pretty close. It was like, yeah.
Okay.
It must have been like 2 a.m., 1 a.m.,
Sure.
but technically the same day.
And did
Either that or barely the day before.
Did Elizabeth ever mention the traumatic incident that happened with her boyfriend, or I guess ex-boyfriend, you could call him?
No, she didn't.
Okay. So maybe you could walk me through
If me and her are guilty of something, it's that we didn't hide the knives from her. And at some point she cut herself. I couldn't tell where she cut herself or how deep. It didn't seem too bad. There wasn't much blood, but right before she got taken away and right before we called the police, she was in the kitchen and grabbed a knife, and I I didn't see her grab the knife. I didn't see her cutting herself.
And from what I understand, there was some kind of physical altercation between Elizabeth and your mother. Is that correct? Did you see any of that, or did you hear that, or how did that come about to your knowledge?
I heard it. I didn't see it. I don't know what happened there.
Okay.
I imagine it was something minor. I didn't see any marks on Elizabeth or my mom from a physical conflict, if there was one.
Okay.
I know that there was some shouting going on.
There was some damage in the house as well. Is that correct?
No, not really. Nothing that I could tell.
Stories about Elizabeth began to circulate the day after her death. Elizabeth's ex-boyfriend claimed she'd threatened him with a knife. However, his sister said his memory was unreliable and could not be trusted due to epilepsy and occasional seizures. Lizette claimed that Elizabeth had been acting erratic in the days preceding her death, although many of Elizabeth's friends claim otherwise. They insist her behavior that night was out of character, and she had been acting normal before. Elizabeth felt safe, knowing that her ex-boyfriend didn't know where she was.
What she told me was that she was scared of her boyfriend, but she was scared that he was going to shoot her or something if she went and got her stuff, but that she didn't think he knew where she was, and I don't think he did. And so
Following her interrogation, Lizette would change her events of the story and go on to claim she witnessed Elizabeth cut her own wrists and stab herself. This is a direct contradiction to what she told police.
She was kind of worried that he might pop up at Kiki's place or whatever like that, but nothing that indicated that she was going to go ahead and supposedly stab herself, and I do say supposedly stab herself in the abdomen and the neck.
Mm-hmm. So don't believe everything you're hearing on your... It sounds like you guys have some kind of text thing going on or something, and I can tell you that everything you're hearing in your text is not correct.
Multiple people contacted by the police had also been given this contradicting story, and all of them insisted she was not a drug user nor a violent person. Interestingly, one neighbor claimed that there had been a disturbance at the house 2 days before the stabbing.
And they got in this huge fight, and he jumped back in the truck, and the entire time that he was driving away, they were screaming and throwing stuff at each other.
So they're inside the vehicle together, or they're...
No. She was running after him, yeah.
Elizabeth's iPhone was recovered and returned to the family. Everything on the phone seemed normal, with the exception of the messages to her ex-boyfriend at 3 a.m, begging him to pick up the phone. Lizette admitted to giving Elizabeth 4 Benadryl pills the night the stabbing took place. Diphenhydramine can have adverse effects in high dosages, and Lizette never explains why she needed to give Elizabeth 4 pills in the first place. Regardless, according to the toxicology report, benzodiazepine, called midolosum, was found in Elizabeth's blood. This drug is used for sedation before surgery, and is also used to calm an extremely agitated person. There was no reason why Elizabeth would need this medication, nor any reason why Lizette should need to give it to her. Something that has also since surfaced are interviews from neighbours of Lizette and Desmond. These interviews were conducted the same day that Elizabeth was killed.
She only said 2 sentences, but she came out screaming, I think. I know there was screaming, and just the loudest voice you can ever hear someone put out, just real loud. So I opened up the blind and it just went quiet. First of all, I didn't even know which house, because usually you would see someone on the street or some, but this case here was, so it was different. But I'm pretty sure she was arguing with a boy. Gotta be. My guess. My intuition said that something with the boy. But man, I haven't heard somebody scream out of her lungs like that in a long time.
The following is a statement made from a neighbour that lives 2 houses from Lizette and Desmond.
Yeah, there was a real loud holler we heard this morning.
Okay. About what time?
She'll know about the exact time, but it was pretty early.
I can't say 100%, but I thought I heard, go ahead and do it. That's all I remember.
Do you know if it was a male or female?
It was a female saying it. She was yelling at the top of her lungs. Someone die.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you recognize the voice belonging to any person?
No, I don't know my neighbors at all.
Some time after the event, an Alaskan reporter contacted the family about the case. In these screenshots, you can see that she was interested in pursuing the case and breaking the story to the wider public. However, due to complications regarding another publicized case, she had difficulty getting the police to cooperate with her. She has since stopped responding to the family's phone calls and emails. It is unclear why. Perhaps her employer told her to drop the story, or perhaps the police told her to. I have reached out to her for comment, however she has also not responded to any of my messages. If she responds sometime in the future, which I doubt, I will make an update video. It is clear from the research that I have done that foul play was involved. It does not make sense that she stabbed herself with several different knives over 10 times. The fact that Desmond was a close friend of Elizabeth's ex-boyfriend is a glaring detail the police seem to ignore. As it stands, this case is currently cold. There doesn't appear to be any new information, and the American authorities seem disinterested in pursuing justice for Elizabeth. Her family, however, have not given up and are continuing to fight. Elizabeth's family contacted me to make this video and spread awareness. The more people know about the case, the more chance we have of forcing the police to act. Please sign the Justice for Elizabeth Santos Change.org petition. I have linked it in the description below. For more information on this case, there is also a deep dive that reveals the specifics of the case and more. I have linked the sources in the description below too. Justice is being sought, and, in the future, I hope to make an update to this video with some positive news for Elizabeth's family. Stay safe.